Speech contests are an important part of the Toastmasters International Educational Program. The online speech contest enables members to practice public speaking and content development in a competitive setting using an online platform. The topic and purpose of each speech is determined by the speaker. Every speech should fit within the overall purpose of the contest to clearly develop and present ideas in a substantially original speech. The 2025-2026 Toastmasters International Online Speech Contest rules have been reviewed by the chief judge and contestants in advance of this contest. The contestants have also been informed of all timing protocols. For today's online contest, the speaking area for each contestant is defined by what you see on the screen. Contestants may move and gesture as they wish, but they must remain visible within their camera frame. In this contest, we will hear an original speech from each contestant. Some of the content may be personal in nature and contain ideas, language, and beliefs, or beliefs that some audiences may consider to be sensitive. Because this is a Zoom platform, instructions will be slightly different than those in-person contests. As contest chair, I will say the following. Will our next contestant enable your microphone and camera, and please pin the timer? When you have done so, please say ready. I will then announce the contestant's name, speech title, contestant's name. To ensure that each contestant's audiovisual equipment is functional, each contestant must say, "Thank you, contest chair," after being introduced. If the audiovisual equipment is functional, I will respond, "You're welcome." Timing will begin with the contestant's next definite verbal or nonverbal communication with the audience. This usually will be the next word uttered by the contestant, but will include any other communication, such as sound effects. If the audiovisual equipment is not functional or errors during a speech, the contest chair will notify the contestant and pause the contest to allow for the appropriate corrections. For this online speech contest, a contestant will be allowed 10 minutes to attempt to make the appropriate corrections. If the contestant is able to correct the equipment within 10 minutes, I will reintroduce the contestant. If the contestant is unable to correct their equipment within the 10 minutes, the contest will continue with the next contestant. By random drawing conducted in advance of this contest, the following contestants will speak in this order. Contestant number 1, Charmaine Lingard. Contestant number 2, Jennifer Newcomb. Contestant number 3, Anna Lockwood. Contestant number 4, Michael Maloney. We will observe 1 minute of silence between contestant speeches, during which voting judges and the tie-breaking judge will mark their ballots. Any protests are limited to eligibility, originality, and reference to another contestant or another contestant's speech, and must only be lodged by voting judges and/or contestants. Any protest must be lodged with the chief judge and/or contest chair prior to the contest being adjourned. When the last contestant speaks, I will then ask for unlimited time of silence until the ballot counters and chief judge are adjourned to appropriate breakout room to tabulate all results. Then we will go right into, once that's done, we will then interview all the great contestants we have here today so that you can learn something more about each of them. Please hold all applause until this time. Additional note, I want to also say throughout the duration of the contest, please do not use the chat function and/or any emojis of any kind until we reach that point where it's time to interview everybody. At this time, Madam Chief Judge, have the contestants, judges, timers, and ballot counselors been properly briefed?
Yes, sir. Everyone has been briefed.
Excellent. Without further ado, let us now commence with the Division B online speech contest.
May the timer please raise their hands? So they will be first.
At this time, we will now begin the contest.
I'm not sure how to raise my hand here. for the timer? I'm the timer.
It's under the reactions.
Okay. Under reactions. Okay. Just a thumbs up thing.
The raise
Oh,
hand
raise hand.
button.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right. Without further ado, let us begin. Contestant number 1, Charmaine Lingard. Please turn on your video, enable your microphone, and please pin the timer. When you have done so, please say ready.
Ready.
Charmaine Lingard. Who is in your van? Who is in your van? Charmaine Lingard.
Thank you, Mr. Contest Chair.
You're welcome.
Picture the scene. It is the middle of the night. I'm behind the wheel in a very long camper van, driving along a dusty road. Did I mention it's the middle of the night? All I can see are fields on either side, and these headlamps are not very bright. I can't really see where I'm going. I'm looking for a rest stop for the night. My daughter's beside me, and her friend that went to school with her, so I have 2 teenagers in the van. They're a little critical of my driving skills, mind you. Anyway, beside the point. I follow this road. Oh, we've got to a bend. Maybe we're nearly there. I turn the corner. It looks like all the camp spots are taken. Oh man, this van camping thing is way more complicated than I thought. Wait, there's a spot. Looks a little close to the edge. Okay, I can do this. I'm going to back the van in. Did I mention it's long? We're talking 170-foot wheelbase, extra length Sprinter van that's being converted. Oh, it's fine. I've only been driving it for 3 days. I'm brand new at this. Well, my daughter said I nearly killed them that night, but I was not close to the edge. It was absolutely fine the whole time. Scout honor. I eventually get into that parking, turn off the car, and we settle in for the night. We still have really no idea where we are. All we can see around us is pitch black and a couple of other vehicles nearby. Well, in the morning, we open up the little windows and we look outside. Ladies and gentlemen, you have never seen such a breathtaking sight. We are in South Dakota in the Badlands, and all I can see are these beautiful painted hues of reds and pinks and browns all around us. And then up there on the hillside, I can see lots and lots of little campers, hundreds of little motorhomes and campers and vehicles. We even had a car with a tent. I don't think they're meant to do that, but they did. And that's when I got it. This van camping is okay. It's a thing. We're not doing something illegal. We're meant to be here. You see, my family and I fell in love with the all-American road trip years ago when we came to the US, and we have been slowly, tentatively testing the water with longer trips. This was the start of our great trip out west, 43 days, 19 national parks, myself with 2 teenagers in the van. Talk about adventure. The All-American Road is an opportunity for memory building, family bonding moments, and you can do it anyhow you want to. Traveling in a van was not what I expected, though, but that actually was the least of my worries. What I didn't realize about van camping was that it's the people in your van that will change your journey. Who is in your van, ladies and gentlemen? If you think about how small this space is, myself and 2 teenage girls sleeping in this space day after day, that might give you a little idea of it. I'll give you an example. Teenagers love memes. We were in Yosemite National Park at one of those beautiful vistas where you park and you explore the edge of the gorgeous landscape. And my daughter's friend Cassidy was near a little boy, and his mom called to him, "Maverick, do we feed our cheesy burgers to the squirrels?" "No, no, no. We do not feed our cheesy burgers to the squirrels." Well, if I had to count the number of times we repeated that meme in the van, to the point that when we eventually got the Starlink satellite, we named the Starlink Maverick. So we could yell at him when he wasn't behaving, "Maverick!" So that gives you an example of how teenagers will change the journey entirely. The other thing that I realized was a little bit on the tricky side was, how do you pick where are you going to stay for the night? Obviously, if you can get a spot in the national park, that's first prize, and we tried as much as we could. But there were times when we were on our way from one park to another, and we had to figure out where we were going to stay. I got to veto some of the suggestions. Abandoned mine. Let's stay by the abandoned mine. Mom, that looks so cool. I gotta make sure you all get home safely. Sorry, girls. Not happening. There was one time in Seattle that we were really struggling to find the right spot. And on the website that my daughter looks on, she saw, there's a rest stop north of Seattle. There is some sort of time limit on how long you can be there, but it seems to be a thing. They do allow people to stay there. So we arrive at the rest stop, look around, and sure enough, I can see the cars with the silver stuff on their windows, couple of vans. Okay, this will be fine. Well, in the morning, we come back from the bathroom. Oh no, there's a police car. Whoop, 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 whoop. Oh, we've overstayed our welcome. So we quickly jump back in the van and remove ourselves from the rest stop. It was just them letting us know we needed to be moving on. So this was the type of adventure that I had with my daughter and her friend. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever you decide to do with your adventures out west, I urge you, try the All-American road trip. Decide who you want in your van and then grab that opportunity. Spend the time with them. Be in the moment. There is absolutely nothing like it. I'm hooked. Who is in your van? Mr. Contest Chair.
Contestant, please now turn off your video and mute your microphone. We will now observe 1 minute of silence. Contestant number 2, Jennifer Newcomb. Please turn on your video, enable your microphone, and please pin the timer. When you have done so, please say ready.
Contest chair.
Jennifer Newcomb, I need a nap. I need a nap. Jennifer Newcomb.
It was 1970 something. The students in Miss Hill's kindergarten class were getting ready to take their naps. Everyone went to their cubbies, got their little blue mats, and laid down. In a couple of minutes, everyone that is, except little Jennifer. Little Jennifer laid on her mat. She wiggled, she flipped, she flopped, she scratched, flipped again, stared at the ceiling. Finally, 5 minutes later, time to get up. Guess who was cranky for the rest of the day because she did not get her nap? And that was the beginning of my dysfunctional relationship with sleep. This sleep pattern followed me through my childhood into high school. But although my relationship with sleep was temperamental, my relationship with my alarm clock was civil for the most part because I had a secret weapon. My secret weapon's name is Wanda, or as I know her, Mom. And because when Miss Wanda tells you to get up, you do it. So my sleep patterns, my alarm clock, and I managed to make it through high school. When I graduated, we went to college, lived in a dorm. And I will just say that living in a dorm did not help me develop better sleep habits. One night, I was up pretty late or pretty early, and I realized that if I went to sleep right then, I would need to get up in just a couple hours to get to my 8 o'clock class. Well, I needed to be vertical, so I decided I'll put the alarm clock on the other side of this nicely carpeted room. I'll get to class. Finally, sleep. 2 hours later, my alarm clock does its job. I jump up, still mostly asleep, did not realize that my leg was also mostly asleep, and I fell with style and slid across that carpet like I was headed for home plate. Burn. I will say that my use of descriptive language was excellent, as was my vocal variety, particularly my ability to project and convey my thoughts to everyone on that floor. Well, I was awake, got to class. Yes, I did take a nap afterwards. I made it through college without too many more sleep-related injuries. And when I graduated, my sleep patterns and my alarm clock came with me. After all, they had been my devoted companions for so many years, and they weren't about to abandon me now. As an adult, I became a librarian. And I found, fortunately, libraries need people at all times, day, night, evening. And I was able to work a schedule where I didn't need a nap at work. The Bible and the Beatles both tell us that there is a time for every season. And it is the time for me to live with my mother again. Mom was always the boss of her sleep habits. But as you get older, the bladder becomes the boss. And it comes to life when it wants to, usually 5 minutes after you lay down. And Mom has developed her own interesting relationship with sleep. Sometimes I am her alarm clock. I don't quite have the mom authority, so I have to be a little creative. You have not lived until Jennifer has serenaded with you with the hokey pokey. Put your left foot in, put your left foot out, put your left foot in and shake it all about. That got me a mama glare. And the question, Jennifer, what is wrong with you? Not the first time that question has been asked. But I came to realize that sometimes life brings us around to the same place so that we can have empathy for each other and enjoy the absurdity of life as we travel through this precious journey together. And sometimes we just need a nap. Mr. Contest Chair.
Contestant, please now turn off your video and mute your microphone. We will now observe 1 minute of silence. Thank you. We now go to our third contestant, Anna Lockwood. Anna, please turn on your video, enable your microphone, and please pin the timer. When you have done so, please say ready.
Ready.
Anna Lockwood, your brain on fun, the lizard logic proposal. Your brain on fun, the lizard logic proposal, Anna Lockwood.
Thank you, Comrade Toastmaster. Greetings, fellow humans. I have spent most of my life thinking that self-improvement was some sort of convoluted equation where I could identify individual faults within myself, isolate them with surgical precision, tweak them ever so slightly, and then presto, well adjusted. Hooray! On what I assure you is an entirely different topic. I have spent the vast majority of my life feeling like I suck at math. But then I met Brian. An estimated 86 billion neurons, the average human brain contains enough electricity to power a 20-watt light bulb. Neurobiology is what compelled me to believe that science and magic can be the same phenomena existing under different circumstances, that who we become in the future is literally shaped by the changes we make today, and that being a good person isn't an equation, but an experiment. In short, Brian made me realize I was a scientist. And for this speech, I was going to hang my diploma behind me for a little bit of extra unspoken credibility, but I can't find it, so this is going to have to do. So, scientific theory dictates that every great experiment first begins with a question, and we ask, how do I be a good person? And then in theory, from there, it should be simple. You ask question, you do background research, you formulate a hypothesis, you test it, etc. In process, it might be a little bit more, you know. So we have a question. What's next? A well-crafted hypothesis needs to be both grounded in evidence that already exists, while ideally proposing a solution for a problem that you find within that existing evidence. So I started my people research by looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So Maslow postulates that in order for a person to realize and become everything that they are capable of being, they first must meet the following steps in the following order. 1, survival needs. These are what keep you alive. Think of them as the basics: food, water, shelter. 2, security needs. They protect what you have. We're going to call these the 3 H's. That is home, health, and money. Next, we have social needs. Need to find a community and do stuff in it. And then last, you have needs of the self. Need to be recognized by that community for the stuff that you do. It is only after you reach the summit of Mount Maslow does he even consider you to be ready to work on your best self. And that's if you don't get stuck along the way. After all, according to Maslow, cash poor cripples such as myself is going to get trapped at tier 2. And according to me, any triangular model of success that contains a paywall is a pyramid scheme. So we've got a problem. Now I'm going to float a solution and see if there's research to back it up. So maybe in order to better understand what humans need, we should first look at the needs of our less evolved counterparts. I mean, logically speaking, the more basic the critter, the more basic and therefore more foundational their needs. And all right. Admittedly, initially inspired by alliteration alone, lizard logic is rooted in real science. I should know. I'm good at science. After all, at the most basic level, a lizard's going to need the same thing as a human: food, water, shelter to stay alive. But you ask any Petco employee or reptile enthusiast, they're going to tell you that a live lizard lacking enrichment is prone to crankiness, depression, and even more destructive behaviors. If you want your lizard to be well adjusted, it has to be able to play. And there are a lot of scientific definitions of play, but we have little minutes remaining. So today we're going to be focusing on 2 main points. 1, play is intrinsically motivated, meaning it is done for the enjoyment of the act alone. And 2, play is self-motivated. It can only be chosen. It can never be forced. It has been observed throughout the animal kingdom, from blue whales to bumblebees, kimono dragons to tadpoles, but it is not currently recognized as an innate biological need. I'm just saying, if enrichment and play are activities that are considered essential for the well-being of critters that are far less neurologically advanced than us sapiens, wouldn't it be a reasonable assumption to think that we might need them too? Okay, so we have a hypothesis. We have background research. Now we need to do an experiment. So I strive to be more lizard. I sit on nice rocks in the sun. I bask. I hiss at my enemies. I do many enrichment activities, including writing 5 to 7 minute long recreational psychology lectures that are so heavily researched that they come with an optional works reference list. I do things because they are fun. Because once you start seeing play as a function essential to your survival, you start making more space for it. Hey, now I have a theory that I'm trying to prove, so I need more data. After all, any evidence resulting from a study with a sample size of 1 is going to be at best anecdotal and at worst confirmation bias. So, I implore you, leave today viewing your priorities from a slightly scalier perspective. See how it plays out. For me, for science. Come on, it'll be fun. I still don't know for sure if I'm living my life as my best self, but I can say with certainty, I am an extremely happy lizard. Thank you, Mr. Contest Chair.
Contestant, please now turn off your video and mute your microphone. We will now observe 1 minute silence. Contestant number 4, Michael Maloney. Please turn on your video, enable your microphone, and please pin the timer. When you have done so, please say ready.
Ready.
Michael Maloney. My embarrassing international scout trip. My embarrassing international scout trip, Michael Maloney.
Thank you, Contest Chair. It was 1987, sometime in September. I loaded my scouts into my 9-passenger station wagon. 5 o'clock in the morning, left our little village in Logan Lake, Canada. We embarked on a 292-mile journey to East Wenatchee, Washington, in the good old US of A. As we approached the border, we had already picked up a fellow scout leader and his scouts. We were 1 car away from the checkpoint. One of the boys asked me, "Scouter Mike, have you got Stefan's passport?" Now, Stefan was a recent immigrant to Canada from South Africa. I turned to Stefan. I asked him, "Have you got your passport?" He replied, "No, sir. Mom and Dad didn't get to the bank to get it out of the safe deposit box yesterday." Now I'm at the border. There's this huge customs agent. I look out my window. All I can see is this big belt buckle and 1/2 of a badge. He bent down, looked at me, and said, "Are you all Canadians?" Aghast, I looked and I said, "We're all Canadian scouts, sir." "Where are y'all going?" "East Wenatchee, Washington, sir, for 4 days and with a trip to Chelan to the county fair." "Very good. Carry on. Have a great day. Welcome to the US of A." Not 20 seconds into the journey past the border, my scouts started singing, "Scouter Mike's a smuggler, Scouter Mike's a smuggler, Scouter Mike is smuggling aliens." And I turned to them and I said, "Knock it off, guys. It's all right. It's not really smuggling. We're all Canadians, scouts. It's okay." We got to East Wenatchee, welcomed by the scout troop there. Fantastic time. Great food, great fellowship, a lot of fun. We spent a couple of days there. And then the day came to go to Chelan, to the county fair. That was a 42-mile journey from East Wenatchee. We get there. It was hot. It was 98 degrees Fahrenheit. The boys had all dispersed, enjoying the fair. I'm walking through the midway, and all of a sudden I see this stand. There was a British flag. And there was a sign on the stand that said old-fashioned British fish and chips. Oh, my word. I love British fish and chips, especially with mushy peas. I went, ordered a double portion, because in those days I was skinny and hungry. Next door to the fish and chip stand was a stall advertising fresh squeezed cherry cider. I had never had fresh squeezed cherry cider. I got a small sample, tasted it. That was so good. I ordered 2 of the biggest mugs of the cider. I sat down, consumed my meal, and just as I finished, 2 of the lads came up and said, "Sir, you're wanted at the rides." Okay, I'm game for that. Off we went. And there was this, I never seen one. It was a teacup ride. The thing held several people. Only a scout leader from the States and one of his boys and me were in this teacup. My buddy was standing outside the ride. Now, if you've never been on a teacup ride, it kind of turns around as you're sitting in it. As it turns around, it tilts as it's turning around. It gets better because there is an arm attached to the bottom of this teacup thing, and it lifts you up and down and up and down, and you kind of go around as you're going up and down and up and down and around and tilting. It did not take very long until those English fish and chips with mushy peas and all the cherry cider sloshing around in my innards decided enough's enough. We are leaving this place. There was an eruption to rival Mount Vesuvius, and this pink stuff just erupted and covered the American scout, the leader, me. A big pool formed in the bottom. Fortunately, they stopped the ride. They helped me out. I'm kind of swaying and feeling dizzy, and oh, my teeth. Where are my teeth? And I bent down and while moving all this stuff. And I said, "Oh, look, I found them. It's okay." And I staggered down to the men's washroom. I go in there and I'm trying to get cleaned up with water and paper towels and get cleaned up. And I was feeling so bad. And I heard a little voice say, "Look at that old drunk over there." And another voice said, "That's not an old drunk. That's my dad." Well, as scouts always do, a good deed every day, they came and helped me get cleaned up. Got dried up in the sun. That evening, I was the brunt of jokes around the dinner table and the campfire. We left the next day to head home. Uneventful, get to the border, asked by Canada Customs, "Where you been?" "East Wenatchee and Chelan." "Did you have a good time?" "Oh, we had a great time." "Where do you live?" "Logan Lake." "Oh, carry on. Have a good day, guys." Off we went. The boys started singing, "Scouter, Mike's a smuggler, Scouter, Mike's a smuggler." I said, "Knock it off, guys. That was 4 days ago. Give me a break." And they said, "No, don't you remember? We have a big box of Washington State apples in the back, and you're not supposed to smuggle them." And that, dear friends, was my most embarrassing international scout trip, Mr. Contest Chair.
Contestant, please now turn off your video and mute your microphone. We will now move to an unlimited moment of silence. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain on mute until the Chief Judge and ballot counters have received all ballots and are moved to the judge's breakout room.
Contest Chair, all votes have been received. We will now go to the breakout room and count the votes.
Excellent. Looks like the chief judge and ballot counters have retired. Thank you to everyone here today. This is now your opportunity to give all our contestants a big round of applause. Whoop, yell, scream, carry on. Please unmute and show how much you appreciate them. Emojis, let them rip.
Job, guys.
Good job.
Amazing.
Great job,
Thank
everybody.
you, guys.
While the ballots are being counted, let's take a moment to meet our great contestants. I will now interview each of you in the order in which you spoke. First on the docket is Charmaine Lingard. Charmaine, I notice here that one of your passions and hobbies is baking. Now, to those of us scoring at home, and if you're scoring at home regarding making food, well, I don't know what else to tell you, but basically, what's the difference between baking versus cooking?
Ooh. Hey, Jonathan.
Ooh.
Well, okay, so cooking you have to do, and you do it every day, and you try to keep it interesting. But the type of food when you cook is totally different to baking. So I have so many cookbooks for baking. Our recent trip to Toronto, there was a lovely little coffee shop, and I bought, it was called The Kitten and the Bear, and I bought their baking book. It's got all the preserves and jams and scones and all those wonderful things. So I love trying new recipes. You generally have flour and it has to rise. So usually with baking, it's a tart or a bread or something like that. I recently started making a South African food that we can't buy here except on Amazon, called South African rusks. And rusks, it's R-U-S-K. It is a hard kind of a biscuit that you dunk in coffee or tea. And it dates back to when the voortrekkers, the Dutch immigrants. And I was looking back at my history to remember how far back, it's hundreds of years ago, but basically they traveled in ox wagons and they had to keep the food for long periods of time. So they would bake these in bulk in advance and have them with them on the journey and then dunk them in the hot drink. And my son absolutely loves them. And I've started giving them to my clients. Mixed reactions. They'll look at me like a little bit weirdly, like, what is this hard thing I'm meant to enjoy? But it is a genuinely South African traditional food called a rusk. So just a little bit about baking for you, John.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you for that great response. And has recognition of your contest participation today, a certificate of participation will be emailed to you forthwith. Thank you for participating. Great job. Now we go to our second contestant, Jennifer Newcomb. Jennifer, I notice in your interest in hobbies that you like reading and reading book reviews. I'm an avid reader myself. What's one of the favorite books you've read as of late and why?
One of my favorite books is actually a little bit older, Deborah Crombie, Dreaming of the Bones. And it is a mystery, but it is a character study. And you get to know, and there's a personal story with the detectives, and you get to know everybody. And I realized that she got me when I was very, very concerned about the cat that had lost its owner. and I was very worried about Sid. So when you care about everybody and every animal in the book, that's a good book. That's a good book, and she is good with characters. And I enjoy mysteries in general, but I like, fast paced sometimes, but I like to get to know the people.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. And also has recognition of your contest participation today. A certificate of participation will be emailed to you forthwith. Thank you for participating. Great job. Now we come to our third contestant, Anna Lockwood. Anna, I have a question here in terms of what's inspiring you the most. Neuroplasticity. What is that? And please explain.
So instead of trying to go in depth on explaining what neuroplasticity is, I'll give you an example of a study that is like referenced the most as an example of why it's a thing. So if you take black cab drivers in London and you look at their brains, you'll see that the region of the brain that is primarily responsible for like spatial awareness and distance is more developed and bigger than their non-cab driving counterparts. So neuroplasticity shows that your brain changes through use, kind of like if you're trying to work out and you like only do your arms, only your arms are going to grow. And it was hugely inspiring to me when I was learning about the biological underpinnings of mental health to realize that it was actually possible to change how you think and change how your brain processes things through repetition. And it's been really incredible over the past few years to feel it happening in myself in real time, practicing maybe being a little bit more intentional with my words and maybe taking a deep breath once in a while and having that pay off. So my number one inspiration is neuroplasticity. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it is working.
Hmm, that's interesting. Very interesting. As a result of as a recognition of your contest participation, a certificate of participation will be emailed to you. Thank you for participating. Great job.
Thank you. I'll tape it on my wall.
Now we come to our last contestant, and that will be Mr. Michael Maloney. Michael, I notice one of your hobbies and interest is model trains. What inspired that?
Thank you for that great question. Before cancer ended my working career 27 years ago, I transported CN rail workers between the city of Vancouver and all parts of British Columbia. Because I loved trains as a child in England, everywhere you went was on a train. The smoke coming out of the smokestack, wafting in through the windows, just gave a different ambience to train travel. The clickety-clack of the steel wheels as they went through the joints of the rails, going through tunnels in darkness, and all the smoke from the engine would fill the carriages until you got out into the bright sunshine. It was just something that got into me. When I came to Canada, my first trip on a train was Montreal to Toronto. I loved that train. They were more modern and bigger than the ones in England. I traveled by train quite a bit in my youth. In my teens, I rode the trains. The hobos taught me how to do that. And I just loved trains. When I was transporting the railway workers, I learned a lot about their lifestyles, about how it affected their family life and everything else. I saw all the intricacies involved in train travel. And now, of course, the passenger train travel is a little less. Railroads have gone more to freight. We rode the Amtrak from Los Angeles to Seattle. Great trip coming up by the ocean. And then when I couldn't work anymore, my son-in-law gave me a model train. 3 pieces, track, transformer. And he said, Dad, you're paralyzed, you're in a wheelchair. You won't be able to do too much. So this was my train set when I was a kid. I don't think it works. You can play with it. I played with it. I got it running. And then that all of a sudden expanded into a 6-foot by 12-foot train track bed in my downstairs. I had tracks and trains all over the place, and I was emulating everything from my childhood in England to the old steam trains to the new powerful locomotives. I just love model trains because it brings back a memory of things that I have done and used to do before I got disabled. And that was the start of my love of model trains. Thank you,
Well,
contest chair.
Thank you, Michael. And as recognition of your contest participation today, a certificate of participation will be emailed to you forthwith. Thank you for participating. Great job. We have results, but before we get into those, I want to thank everyone here for a wonderful contest today. It was a great pleasure, privilege, and honor to be your contest chair. I want to extend a special thanks to all our participants, judges, functionaries, and so forth, without whom this contest would not have been possible. I also want to recognize our dignitaries again. Ms. Kaylee Works, our District 63 Program Quality Director, all our great area directors, and everybody in between. Whether you're a guest or a member, welcome. Thank you for being here. It really is great to see everybody. According to the results, there were no time disqualifications, so that is good. And then we will now go into the contest results. Our third place winner in the Division B online speech contest is Charmaine Lingard. Our second place winner for the Division B online speech contest is Michael Maloney. And our first place for the Division B online speech contest and who will advance on to the district online speech contest is Anna Lockwood. Congratulations to everyone. Truly great to see everyone here today. From here, the contest winner will next compete at the District 63 online speech contest, and I believe that will be at the Fall Summit. Am I correct? Oh, no, it's not? Okay. So I just got the word from Kayla that it's not. So it's going to be at the spring conference, correct? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. I
Toya is on and she could hype that up if she'd want to.
Yes, I was just wondering when I can come off of mute. But you guys, we are here at this point. I will be sending out our final details in weeks to come because we've all been working on these contests and we've been trying to get everything done. So now we're working on our next phase, the conference for the in April. But our online speech contest will be scheduled for April 23rd. Put that on your calendar.
okay.
5 p.m. Central Standard Time to 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, all online, and I will be having that information to you finalized by next week. But we are ready, owning Limitless, owning your excellence. This is our conference.
Awesome. And also want to put in a note regarding the upcoming Fall Summit as well. Kayla, if you want to speak about that real quick.
Yeah, of course. So our upcoming fall summit will be on November 14th in Nashville, Tennessee. If you would like to attend all day, it is $60. That also does include food, including possibly some cheesecake, is what I've been told, and some steaming goat sandwiches. No, they do not include steaming goat, I promise. Also, if you are at a club and would like to just have a viewing party with your club, we do also have that option. And you can make your own open house, warming, anything you'd like to with that. There will be a post-social event where we are going to call that our district social hour, and please use that as an open house to invite others. I've already included a few people in there, and that's only $20 if they're hungry. It's free to get in. And we will be right across the street at the Black Abbey Brewery. There will be awards given out at the Fall Summit, and everybody who has participated in contests, each round up will also be getting something mailed out to them if they are not present in person. So don't worry, there are a few things getting ready to come out. I am a little behind on those, so I can't promise that you will get those before the Fall Summit because we are still waiting on a few nominations to come in since yesterday was the last day for that. But I think I got us all in there with that one.
And I think Lindsay had a quick question. Lindsay Renault.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Jonathan.
Lindsay.
I knew, Kayla, you and Atoya were talking about the district online contest, and I got April 23rd, and I just wondered if the time for that contest could be repeated.
No problem, Lindsay. 5 p.m. Central Standard Time to 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I will be sending an email to everyone to share with their club. I'm finalizing that information just so you can have everything readily available.
Thank you, Atoya.
Right,
Most
thank you.
welcome.
And thank you everyone for the clarifications and all that. We really appreciate that. And we now have everything's set as far as time frame and all that good stuff. So expect communication and email real soon about all of this. So thank you everyone. And thank you again to everybody who participated in this contest today. You will also be receiving certificates of participation as well. Your service is definitely noted and it is truly humbling to see everyone here. And furthermore, just on a personal note, it's humbling to be here. I mean, literally almost 5 years ago, I was almost ready to give up on Toastmasters totally. I thought I would never have a chance again to be part of this great organization, but look where we're at now. And, it's truly humbling. And, it's beyond words. I mean, those of you who know me, you know how I feel. And, you know my heart, you know where my soul is. And I get a little choked up about it because it's something, this is a labor of love. And, we're all here to help each other, support each other. We make mistakes along the way, but it all comes right in the end. And that's the thing. We're here for each other. And so if I get emotional about that, it's because I care. And I know all of you do as well. So, well, without further ado, I will let you get on to your Saturday and weekend. And thank you again for coming to our Great Division contest. And as they would say in legislative parlance, we are now sine die or adjourned.
It was so good to
Jonathan.
see everybody.
Awesome job,
Congratulations.
Jonathan.
Thank you
Thank you so much,
much.
everybody.
Good job. Hi,
Thank
guys.
you, Jeff England, for being here. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.